Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM. Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon. 104 right now, 28 degrees outside Fargo, a little bit of patchy fog, windy day, a wind gusting over 30 miles an hour. And believe it or not, this is the calm before the storm. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and our one and only amazing, very talented Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And good afternoon, Bridgette. I see you're not here today. Do you want to tell us where you're at and why?
I am out of town. Anybody want to take a stab where I'm at? Well, according to you guys, I'm in the bullseye of winter storm down here in Pierre, South Dakota. I attend the 74th annual South Dakota Cattlemen's Association's meeting. So I'll be here live for a couple of days and maybe longer if you guys keep talking about the weather the way you are.
I think she might see a window to come back around Thursday?
Saturday?
Next Saturday.
Hey.
12 days from now.
I've got a football game on Friday night, boys. Let's not talk like that, shall we?
She better start digging the tunnel now.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a football
So what's
game
in store,
coming up on
gentlemen?
Friday. Well, I'll tell you what. It's going to snow, Bridgette. It's going to snow a good amount for some of us. We'll take a look at what that forecast is coming up here in just a moment, and we'll let you know how long you're going to be stuck in South Dakota for.
It is currently a little bit of rain here, so east of Pierre, folks are talking about slick roads. So that's already begun. We know that the wind is certainly going to be up. That's not dying down anytime soon. And all those factors are going to be a bit of a problem as our afternoon rolls on.
Yep, and we're already seeing winter storm warnings being issued west of the valley, and we're still in a winter storm watch that will likely be upgraded to a warning here in the next couple of hours as we see that watch window starting from 6 o'clock this evening until 3 a.m. Thursday morning. And believe it or not, we could be looking at snow into Saturday morning. So we'll take a look at that coming up here in just a moment. If you have any questions on the forecast or what the weather is going to be like, feel free to give us a call, 701-293-9000. Same number you can call with any questions or comments, or if you just want to join in on our conversation. Fun things on the show today. Todd Wilkinson is going to be joining us, National Cattlemen Beef Association member, live with Bridgette actually down there in South Dakota. And then we got a few ag topics that we're going to get to. But to make room for the forecast, we're going to shoot over to ABC News, and we'll be right back.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Now in U.S. custody, Abu Aguila Massoud, the Libyan facing charges of building the bomb that destroyed Pan Am Flight 103 over Scotland in 1988.
He had been, at least for a while, in Libyan custody, and how the United States was able to take hold of him from a country that we don't think has an extradition treaty with the United States was not exactly explained, but he is in American custody. Official word came from the Justice Department early Sunday morning, and he's due to make his first appearance in an American courtroom as soon as Monday.
ABC's Aaron Katersky opening statements in federal court in Washington, D.C. today for the seditious conspiracy trial of 4 more members of the so-called Oath Keepers. The group's leader was convicted less than 2 weeks ago. In Washington County, Kansas, crews are working nonstop cleaning up the leak of more than 14,000 barrels worth of crude oil from the Canada to Texas Keystone Pipeline into a creek. And this is not its first time.
The system had leaked more than a dozen times. In 2017 in South Dakota, they spilled about 9,700 barrels. In 2019 in North Dakota, up to 9,200 barrels were spilled. So, certainly environmentalists are pushing Congress to have this discussion. They want stronger regulations.
ABC's Em Nguyen. Imagine being the animal control officers faced with this mess of a menagerie.
Milwaukee police say a utility company worker went to a house over an issue and reported it was full of animals. Cops executed a search warrant this past weekend regarding possible animal cruelty. A man's arrested. Among the animals rescued, dogs, cats, turtles and tortoises, geckos, cockatoos, a goat, an Indian ringneck parrot, just one lovebird, but 2 alligators, 112 animals, plus dead animals, skeletons of animals, and animal waste. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
You're listening to ABC News.
Do you know a special woman who deserves nothing but the best for the holidays? This Christmas, spoil her with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas. The next best thing to wearing nothing at all. Naturally nude pajamas, exclusively at Pajamagram, are smooth to the touch, light as air, truly seductive. Order today and Pajamagram will include a free matching naturally nude nightie. That's a $75 saving on a best-selling holiday gift. Yes, ordering today gets you a free $75 nightie. Definitely an effortless way to let her know how much you care. Now you can give her 2 sensuous gifts that she'll love to relax in. But hurry. Year after year, naturally nude pajamas sell out. So here's what you need to do. Head to pajamagram.com or text the word GIFT to 41234. That's GIFT to 41234. Order today, ships tomorrow.
Save now on premium mattresses, pillows, bases, and linens at Accord Comfort Sleep Systems directly across from Olive Garden. Find the best mattress design and construction with our exclusive technologies such as our Accord Comfort Reflex Layer, ensuring proper spinal alignment. Our Thermodyne climate control fabric is perfect for the couple sleeping hot and cold. Buy today and take it home today, or free delivery in the FM metro area. Accord Comfort Sleep Systems. You're going to love sleeping with us.
Hi, Nancy Kelly here from Labor Masters. I'd like to take time to say thank you to the businesses, the homeowners, and the 1,500 plus employees that worked with us this past year. We know that without you, there would be no us. So thanks to each and every one of you for helping us have another successful year. And remember, if you need seasonal help, give us a call at 701-566-8755 or find us online at labormasters.net. From all of us at Labor Masters, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us on this calm start to the week.
Calm.
By the time we're done with this week, most of us should have a fresh foot of snow on the ground.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Numerous advisories, warnings. Bridgette, you're under a winter storm warning in Pierre. But
yes,
just to your west, they have blizzard warnings in effect. So hopefully everybody has already arrived or will be sometime today.
Folks are arriving. Things are filling up here, so that's going well. We think today will be a pretty good day. There'll be those who try to get out before it gets too bad tonight, etc. So are those storm warnings to the west of us going to continue to move eastward, or are things going to lighten up towards the east? What's your best guess here, guys?
Well, more than likely, those warnings will expand eastward. And I'll tell you what, areas of northeastern South Dakota and into the far southeastern corner of North Dakota, probably going to get quite a bit of ice from this. More than 1/4 of an inch is a good possibility. When you factor that in with 30, 40 mile an hour winds, you're looking at possible power outages in those areas. And ironically enough, it's those areas that also may get some of the heavier snow once it transitions over. So we'll be keeping a close eye. This storm just entering Southern California right now. It seems to be taking a slightly more southern track than our previous models were indicating. Not by enough to really worry about, but if it goes far enough south, instead of wrapping the dry air this far north into areas of the Fargo-Moorhead area, the drier air would stay more down to the south towards southern Minnesota and those areas. But I do think we'll see enough. This will start off late tonight with kind of a freezing rain, changing to freezing rain. Or freezing drizzle as we head towards tomorrow morning. and then gradually changing over to a wet snow and then a heavy wet snow in the FM area by tomorrow late afternoon. The evening rush looks to be pretty snowy with quite a bit of wind. It's going to be that heavy wet snow as well. We'll probably have about 3-4 inches of snow on the ground by your evening commute, and then a couple inches overnight. So by the time Wednesday morning rolls around, anywhere between 4 to some spots as much as 8 inches. I think 4 to 7 is a good bet. And then assuming we get the drier air pulled into this system on Wednesday, we'll kind of shut the snow off for a while. Maybe flurries or light freezing drizzle. And then the second round wraps around the main system Thursday into Friday, where we could pick up another 2 to 4 inches on top of that. So, like I said, by the end of the week, most areas should have close to a foot on the ground, maybe a little bit less, but some areas could have a little bit more than that as well. The areas that get hit harder with the first round, but definitely deteriorating conditions. The worst part of the storm looks to be coming in Tuesday night. That's a Tuesday evening into Tuesday night is when we'll see the heaviest snow in the Fargo-Moorhead area. And down to the south into areas of South Dakota, you'll get it obviously a little sooner than that. So travel not recommended over much of the state of South Dakota, and travel conditions will rapidly deteriorate not only in the valley but also out to the west. And even into Lakes country, not as much snow, at least by a couple of our models. Still appreciable snow, half a foot, but not as heavy as it could be. And we'll be watching the exact track of this storm. Now that it's inland, now our computer models will get the balloon soundings to use, and those should get a better handle on exactly where and the timing and the heaviest snow will be. There will be some narrow, maybe called convective bands of snow, which produce some heavier snowfall totals, and where those set up, impossible to know at this standpoint. You have to wait until those start developing on radar, and then you can kind of get a better handle on that. But definitely the biggest winter storm of the season in our area. It will affect travel. Travel will become extremely difficult by Tuesday evening into Tuesday night. That's when the worst part of this storm should hit. And then the rest of the week just wintry with on and off snow. we won't shake this storm until sometime over the weekend.
Right. You kind of get bouncing back and forth between windy conditions. You know, Friday will be a little breezy. I think we'll get a little bit of a break on the wind on Wednesday, depending on how much of that dry air punches in, which will really just determine on where the exact positioning of that low sets up, if it continues that slightly southward shift or not. But then winds kick back up on the backside of the storm on Friday, and you know, if we mix in some light snow showers during that time frame as well, then that might be an area of some potential blowing snow that we might have to keep an eye on. I don't know if it would be enough from this standpoint to be a blizzard or anything, but definitely some areas of reduced visibility if we get those snow showers on Friday with those windy conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to drop temperatures after that as well? Will this put us back into a deep freeze?
This will.
Ooh,
yeah.
Great question. I'm so glad you asked that question, Bridgette. Yes, it's
Suddenly
going to
I'm
get
not.
cold.
Yeah, we're in the deep freeze next week. High temperatures below zero.
Ice-making weather.
Yeah, so very cold. And it's just this is the 1-2 punch from Mother Nature. You get the big storm followed by the Arctic cold.
And that ice-making weather is great if you're looking forward to being an ice fisherman this season. But for the rest of you who would like to not fight those problems, this will be a challenge.
You know what the kind of bummer part about that cold is for the ice fishing is that we're throwing a good blanket of snow on the ice before we get that cold weather. And that just slows down the ice-making progress until it kind of catches up with itself. But, you know, just like clouds insulate temperatures, you know, we got cloudy skies, temperatures usually not too bad overnight. The snow does the same thing on the ice. So thankfully we'll get cold to kind of help.
And a lot of lakes have 6 to 9 inches of ice already. So
yeah, I think Bemidji had about 4 to 5 is what I was hearing on Lake Bemidji.
So and that's good clear ice.
Yeah, I think Upper Red's about 6 inches too, isn't it?
I know
8?
Lake of the Woods had, I saw 9 close to 10 up around Borderview Lodge up there, and so we'll continue to we'll thicken it up. We'll thicken it up, especially next week. Wow, yeah, it looks real cold next week.
Well, I think we should take a break here, pay some bills. Bridgette, do you want to introduce who our guest is going to be when we come back?
Absolutely. Let's take this moment to touch base. And then when we come back, we will have with us the incoming president-elect for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. That's Todd Wilkinson. He's from right here in South Dakota. We get to ask him questions as we'd like regarding what he's going to be doing for the next year and what things are going to be like to prep for the storm on his ranch. So we'll do that and be back right after this.
Experience, better service. It's what you'll get from Irie Insurance and Bethany Rents. Tell us why you're so passionate about agriculture.
My passion for agriculture stems from having the opportunity to grow up in a farming family.
Your boots have been in the field too.
Yes, I was a crop adjuster for 10 years prior to becoming a crop insurance agent.
Bethany's boots will be right in the field with you, and nobody beats her all-star service. Here's her cell phone number, 701-740-2983. Bethany Rents, Irie Insurance. Irie Insurance is an equal opportunity provider.
Your parents have taken care of you for years, and as they age, that table turns, and you find yourself caring for them. Where can you turn for answers? Let Senior Helpers be your trusted advisor. We make it possible for aging adults to continue to live at home safely and independently. Providing personalized care specific to every client, Senior Helpers provides flexible hourly care ranging from simple errands and housekeeping to 24-hour live-in care. Living at home is possible with help from Senior Helpers. Find out more online at seniorhelpers.com.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
This is How They Do It, sponsored by Coast Materials, and this month we talk to Tom Knowlton, owner and head brewer of Drecker Brewing. How do they take grain, barley, malt, and turn it into your delicious carbonated beverage called beer? You'll gain access only brewmasters have and find out what it takes to start a brewery and make your favorite beer. It's more than you might think. Tuesday, December 20th at 2:35, another episode of This is How They Brew It on The Jay Thomas Show.
Your best source for news, weather, and sports, and all things happening here in Fargo-Moorhead is WDAY Midday. That's right. Join me, News Director Kyle Cornell, and my news team as we tell the stories you want to hear about that affect you.
Showcasing the best of the best and who's the most innovative.
Hopefully we'll have adequate parking for the flying public here for years to come.
So make sure to turn that dial to WDAY Midday. It's weekdays from 11 to 1 right here on AM 970 and FM 93.1 WDAY.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. 1:22 right now. Meteorologist Justin Storm with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. We got a fun guest on today. Bridgette, you want to introduce who our guest is that's over there with you?
Would love to. Folks, I get the distinct pleasure today of sitting next to Mr. Todd Wilkinson. He is the National Cattlemen's Beef Association National President-elect from right here in South Dakota. So we have lots of questions for you, Todd. And the first is, where are you from here in South Dakota? Tell us about your ranch.
So I'm from a little town called Smith, and most people have never heard of that. But all I do is talk about the TV show, Little House on the Prairie. And that's literally where Mom and Pa Ingalls and one of the sisters are buried in my hometown. So everybody remembers that.
That was what I was going to credit DeSmet to, because that's the one that I knew as well. So how long have you been ranching, and how have you been incorporated into National Cattlemen's Association?
Oh, so I've been in the cattle business probably 45 years or better, probably a little longer than that. I kind of forget my age here a little bit, but got into the cattle feeding business in earnest back in the 90s with my oldest brother, and then our family built a fairly large feedlot operation in addition to our cow-calf operation. And most recently, the last 15, probably 20 years now, I've been in a cow-calf operation with my son, Nick. And then we are also doing backgrounding and feeder operations.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you've been working with NCBA probably your entire career, feeding, raising cattle, etc. And this is not a new organization to you, but you're going to be in a new position. Tell me about that.
Well, certainly a new position. I would have never dreamed that when I went to, first of all, the South Dakota Cattlemen's Association meeting many decades ago. I would have never dreamed I was going to end up getting involved with NCBA to this level and going through the various offices. I've been an active member of the NCBA, but to get into the officer chairs and to go through the competition to get to this level, so this will be South Dakota's first president of NCBA, and I'm pretty proud of that. Hats off to a lot of these producers at these events that had the foresight to kick me in the butt and tell me to go for it, and I appreciate that, because it would have been easy to stay home and do your job and not go on, but when you see what you can accomplish and the impact that we can have on a national scope, it just invigorates you as an individual.
Right. And Todd, I got a question here. What is the Cattlemen's Beef Association? Me personally, not coming from an ag background, I'm not really sure what it is and what do you do with that?
So we are the largest and the oldest cattlemen's organization in the United States. Mm-hmm. We're well over, coming up on our 125th anniversary. So wow. We have an office in Denver, and then we have a active office in Washington, D.C., where we lobby and try and get beef policy and ag policy across the finish line, both on the regulatory front and on the congressional legislation. So, in contrast to my corn and bean farming friends, beef just kind of does its thing, and we don't ask a lot of people to get in our way, and we just want to be good stewards of the land. Well, really what's happened more recently in the last 2 decades in particular, it seems that the regulatory front has really invaded the ranching and the farming community, and we need to stand up and tell the positive message of the beef industry. And it's exciting to talk about it. I'm wearing a white hat today for a reason, and that I try to talk about the message of that cow out there grazing on land that wouldn't be used for anything else but for a grazing operation, and the ability to take that and cycle that through the nutrient profile and then turn that into beef, because we all enjoy beef, and it's just a great message. We're looking today for smaller carbon footprints, and I would tell everybody that's listening today that if you know a cattle producer, they are an answer to a smaller carbon footprint, because it's that process of taking that grass, having that cow eat that grass, convert it into meat. That reduces our carbon footprint, because through the whole process of carbon sequestration, we can be a positive message out there, and converting what would have never been converted, we can turn that into a reduction in greenhouse gases.
And Todd, with your new position here, what's on the agenda for the upcoming year? What's your platform look like, and are there any big changes that you'd like to make?
Well, obviously, we're coming up on a new farm bill authorization, and that has to be front and center for all ag organizations because this process comes around only 5 years. So we have to be dealing with a number of issues. And one of the biggest ones right now is dealing with animal disease traceability. And I don't want to get everybody lost in the weeds, but there's a process. I'm going to use Australia, for example, because everybody knows where Australia is, but there is a disease outbreak 350 miles off the coast of Australia in all the Indonesian areas, and it's called foot and mouth disease. And that may be familiar to some of your listeners because some of them would remember that used to be an issue in the United States. And we haven't had an outbreak since 1929. Mm-hmm. But what's happening with the increased travel of everybody flying all over the globe, the potential for that disease getting into our beef supply chain would be catastrophic on the beef industry. It would be multi-billions of dollars and probably cripple the beef industry. So we're trying to get a vaccine bank built up with sufficient stores to be able to treat all of the animals in the United States, and that's part of the process. That's part of what's going to go into that farm bill is authorization for increased vaccine. In addition to that, plan and awareness as to what happens so that we can protect our food supply. And then one of the other big ones is livestock marketing risk insurance policies. And that's, again, I'm going to equate this back to corn and beef, or corn and beans, because we all hear about crop insurance and a price level in case the prices for corn and beans go through the bottom. Well, there hasn't been something like that for the beef industry in the past. But now we're getting a product developed, and it's supported by USDA, which we're really seeing big acceptance from not only the cow-calf producer, but the stocker and the feeder. And the neat thing is it's available to somebody with 1 head or to somebody with 2,500 head. And that makes it affordable and usable regardless of the size of your cow herd. So that's unique and it's exciting, and we want to keep that program going. So that's a big emphasis for us in this upcoming farm bill.
Well, folks, we're going to have plenty more questions to talk about after a break. We're going to stop here at the bottom of the hour for just a few minutes. We'll catch back up with Todd Wilkinson. He is the National Cattlemen's Beef Association President-elect right here from South Dakota. And I am actually in Pierre, South Dakota, keeping an eye on the weather for Dean and Justin, because I guess that's my new part-time job, guys, is to help you out from down here. So we'll talk soon. Everyone stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves. Got some advice from our helpful elves. Oh, so many gifts to explore when you go to Total Wine and More. Bottles so delightful, whoa. Priced so amazingly low.
Love what you find. Always lowest prices at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Children have an amazing way of becoming exactly who we tell them they are.
If we tell them they are strong, they'll become strong.
If we tell them they are kind, they become kind.
And if we tell them we appreciate them helping, they become better helpers.
If we tell them we all make mistakes, no one's perfect, but we still love them,
they'll know your love is unconditional. If we want our kids to have what it takes to tackle their own life one day,
well, we need to speak love into their lives. I'm Jaden.
And I'm Andrew from the Window and Door Store in Fargo.
Everyone wants their kids to be happy, but we know they need to learn to be resilient.
Failing is part of life.
And failure builds resilience, character, and leads to growth.
Failure is just a temporary condition.
We believe in family first and work-life balance. Check us out, the Window and Door Store.
Go to www.thewdstore.com.
Today, health is the new wealth.
Kindness is the new cool.
So be cool.
You heard the news that Twitter censored conservatives big time. They also suppressed information about Hunter Biden's laptop. Now Eric Bolling is on Newsmax, exposing Twitter's war on President Trump. Tune in tonight to watch Eric Bolling, The Balance, for news you need to know. And make sure you vote in Newsmax Urgent Poll. Do you want Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis as your candidate in 2024? Newsmax wants to know what you think. Vote in the Newsmax poll on Trump versus DeSantis. Just text the word ZONE to 39747. That's ZONE to 39747. Let your voice be heard. I tune into Newsmax for news I can trust. And remember, vote in Newsmax poll on Trump versus DeSantis. Text ZONE to 39747. That's ZONE to 39747. And make the switch to Newsmax. I did. You'll love it.
Holiday Lights is bigger and better. The drive-through light show is now at the fairgrounds. Jump in the car and head out to the event that is merry and bright. Brought to you by Christmas Decor and Cass County Electric. Buy tickets online and save at RedRiverValleyFair.com.
Is your family stuck in a boring rut for entertainment?
63.
Bring the gang to Sweet Shots, your new hub for family entertainment and great food, plus a variety of golf games powered by Top Tracer technology while in a heated bay. Sweet Shots provides the clubs, the balls, and you can enjoy apps or a signature burger from our Scratch Kitchen and a cocktail from one of our 4 full-service bars. Meet, play, dine at Sweet Shots Fargo.
And welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel here in Pierce, South Dakota at the South Dakota Cattlemen's Association meeting, and I am with National President-elect Todd Wilkinson from De Smet, South Dakota. We were just visiting on the break some of the things that are going on with cattlemen right now, and probably your public perception more than anything. Any comments you want to make about that, Todd? Just what we want people to know about your industry and why it's so important that they have a good, positive public perception of the beef industry right now?
Well, it would appear that everybody thinks we all live like they do on Yellowstone. I'm not quite sure that sometimes the calves don't come out of the back end of the cow tagged and different things like that when they're born. But for all the positives, it is a lifestyle, and it's an admirable lifestyle. And for the farmers and ranchers across America, they just have a really good message. And for the folks that are away from the farm, and that you're really seeing that now. We've gone to second and third and now fourth generation away from the farm and the ranch. They really don't identify back to what truly happens there. And there's a program out that has been used. National Cattlemen's Beef has been a part of it for a number of years. Corteva has been a part of it. There's just some great sponsors, and it's the Environmental Stewardship Award. And I would encourage anybody that really wants to see what goes on a ranch or an operation all across the country. It's not isolated to the Midwest or the West. There's 7 parts of the country. It will show you the amazing message of the stewards that are on the land and know that they need to protect the land for the future generations. So for the image, I would tell you that as I travel, and I travel a lot, the respect that farmers and ranchers get across the country is amazing, and the credibility that they associate with what we're doing is earned, because they're not going to play games with you. Most of those producers are going to tell you exactly what they think and how they believe it can be better. and that's refreshing in the day of politics and all of the noise, to talk to somebody that can really give you an honest answer and then tell you why they feel that way. That's a great part of America.
And Todd, got a question for you with the upcoming storm coming in. And granted, we're not at the peak of calving season, but let's say this was, and we've got a blizzard coming in with over a foot of snow. A, what kind of preparations do you make? And B, does it matter to a rancher if it's a heavy, wet snow, like that heavy concrete, or if it's a dry, fluffy snow that's blowing all over the place? Does it really matter?
Well, it sure matters. Okay. Obviously, it makes a big difference. Well, I'll tell you, all our cows came home in advance of this storm. They were all out in corn stalks, and everything was hauled home in the last week for my son and I to be able to get to this meeting today. Otherwise, this simply would have been impossible. So, you can get a storm that comes out and you don't get any advance notice of it. Goodness knows you guys up north got both barrels of that last year in a couple of storms that hit, and that wet, heavy snow that comes down and just piles up. It's so difficult on the calves that they just can just almost get smothered because that blanket gets so heavy. Mm-hmm. And the converse side of that is that light, fluffy stuff with the winds of the north, when they're 30 and 40 and 50 mile an hour, gets blown all over the place, and that too can present its problems. But for the cow-calf operator, the spring storm is particularly difficult because a lot of us calve in the spring. Not a lot of fall calving cows around here, but a lot of us do calve then, and we try to calve late enough. My son would say we haven't figured that part out in our program because we're calving as early as February. But for a lot of us, we try to calve later to get out of that weather. And when you get caught in that April blizzard or that March blizzard, to watch an animal suffer is simply probably the most heart-wrenching thing that a rancher can go through. So preparations, certainly every rancher is preparing for every storm, but sometimes they just come up and you don't have any advance notice, and those are pretty tough.
Todd, isn't it fun that just occasionally you get to go back to talking about cows, not just about policy and travel and what it's like to be in Washington, D.C., but you just get to talk about your cows? That's okay too, isn't it?
It is. It's awesome. I talk about a lot of things across the country, and you would think I would talk a lot about cows, but I'm usually talking about some regulatory issue or legislative issue because, hey, that's my role. I'm here to be an advocate for the rancher and the farmer. But to get to talk about cows or get to talk about bull selection or things like that, that's kind of awesome.
Well, we did have an email question that came in, and the question was, and I think this is probably more to do with the beef checkoff, but is there not a program that's currently being used to try to put more beef into the schools and with universities and colleges? And can you speak to that at all for the listener who was wondering that question, Todd, or is that maybe something I can do some research on and bring back for us?
No, that I can speak to it. I'm certainly not the expert at it, but there's a Build Your Base program that's out there. In fact, they have a booth just down here. To get that beef, and I'm going to relate this back to my local affiliate, my local county cattlemen's association, if you will. They're currently trying to get beef into our school and our schools, and that would come from area producers putting that awesome quality product back in so that we know what our kids and grandkids are eating. And it's a local wholesome product, and that we have no issues feeding our kids and our grandkids. And the Build Your Base program is really designed even for the athletes. It's amazing. I went to a meeting last week, and I came in right on the heels of the Olympians that were traveling across South Dakota, and they were advocates of that build your base and how that added part of beef in your diet can be so important to building up that muscle mass and that just that strong body. And, to hear a couple of true Olympians come in and talk about how that's so important in their diet, you just got to be in awe of the wonders that, when God created all of this and he put animals out here for us to consume, you got to think, there was definitely a higher power involved in here, and our job is just to be the stewards of the future.
Right. Todd, with the position you're moving into over there, and congratulations, by the way, are you starting to see that more and more people are starting to reach out to you with your upcoming presidency for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association? And with that, are they saying anything to you with regards to concerns that they're having in the industry or anything like that?
Oh, certainly there's people reaching out. I've been involved on the policy side for a number of years now. So I was the national policy chairman 2 years ago. So I'm used to dealing with the policy issues and having people reach out. If it was a perfect world, nobody'd have any issues. But there are a lot of issues, and there are a lot of challenges that we are facing as producers, and nothing's perfect. And sometimes it takes regulatory changes, and sometimes it takes legislative changes, and sometimes, believe it or not, it actually just means you sit down and you talk to somebody one-on-one so that you can see them and you can read them and they can understand where you're coming from. I'm amazed at what can be done by a simple one-on-one conversation with someone so that you can explain your position and not get lost in, and again, I'll use the term noise, because it seems like social media, we just lose so much through social media anymore, and we just don't have that that one-on-one conversation where we each can appreciate each other's viewpoints. And as people give me critiques and say, you need to do this better or that better, that's the only way we learn from that is to take that input and try and work together.
And I think across agricultural commodity groups, that's one of the things we can all do is work together just a little bit better. And I would love to see that. So if you're going to continue to show that perspective to the consumer, do it on a united front. That's the best way for all of us to make progress with what we want to do on a daily basis. So, folks, I know that Todd has to get to a meeting here fairly soon, so we will continue to talk about our weather and news headlines and so forth, but we really want to take time to say thank you for you to stop by and visit. If folks have more questions about NCBA, etc., where would you suggest that they reach out, and how would they get involved with their local affiliates?
The easiest way to reach NCBA is I'll go back to social media, because that's the easiest way to catch up with me. Is to go on that social media and just Google NCBA, and you'll get in touch with America's oldest organization for a cattle group, and really we run by the input of our members, and we welcome everybody's input because that's what makes us all better. And Bridgette, I just want to say thank you. It's been a great interview, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to all your listeners.
Well, we like it too, especially because we have such a mix of both, as well as those who are different aspects of what's going on. So thank you. And for those who are listening, we are going to take this time to catch up on the markets with American Ag Network, and we'll be back right after this, so don't go anywhere.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
Hi, my name is Justina, and I am a junior at Fargo North. I moved here with my parents at an early age, and I plan to study business in college. The reason that I'm so hopeful about my future is Legacy Children's Foundation. I want to thank the amazing donors who are complete strangers to me. I'm amazed by the generosity. Because of them, Legacy youth receive resources and positive relationships to become educated leaders. Find out more at legacychildrensfoundation.com.
When it comes to keeping your vehicle ready for any adventure, Jiffy Lube of Fargo is the team to beat. The Jiffy Lube of Fargo Signature Service Oil Change helps keep your vehicle firing on all cylinders, like an all-pro quarterback. Jiffy Lube of Fargo will check, change, inspect, and fill essential fluids, keeping your vehicle game ready for trips across town or across the country. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, locally owned and operated with 3 convenient Fargo locations, and you never need an appointment. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy.
Wheat and core markets find support with soybeans and meal under pressure on Monday. This is the American Ag Network of Jesse Allen with this closing market update. Well, quarter wheat markets found support with Chicago KC wheat leading to the upside as we see concerns over Ukraine grain shipments mounting after a weekend drone strike hit the port of Odessa. We haven't seen any new vessels enter or leave the ports in Ukraine since that drone strike, so that helped to give us a little bit of firming in quarter wheat. Also, with the quarter wheat market, both of those still in a bit of a consolidation move that's been going on for about a week or so. Soybean prices, though, follow through selling there after we failed to successfully test the $15 level last week. Buyers backing away near that area of chart resistance. Soybean meal prices very overbought as well. And we see soy oil was very oversold, so that's resulting in a reversal of that spread on the day Monday. Meantime, livestock trade relatively mixed with live cattle showing a little bit of green while feeder cattle and lean hogs mixed on the session. Final numbers on Monday. March corn up 10, 654. May corn up 8 3/4, 654. January soybeans down 23 1/4 at 1460 1/2. March down 22 3/4, 1465 1/2. January bean meal down 21.40 a ton, 450.20. January bean oil up 219 points, 62.20. March Chicago wheat up 20 1/2, 754 3/4. May up 19 1/4, 764. March Kansas City wheat up 29 1/4, 862 1/4. Spring wheat for March, that was up 15 3/4, 917 1/4. May up 13 3/4, 913 3/4. Lean hogs December up 37, 81.95. February down 30, 83.70. January feeder cattle down 27, 183.65. March up 12, 185.22. And live cattle December up 72, 154.40. February up 55, 156.10. And April live cattle up 55, 159.90. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 1:51 now in the afternoon, and winter storm watch is still in effect across the Red River Valley with everything from winter weather advisories and warnings to blizzard warnings and even ice storm warnings being issued to our west and south. What are we in store for not just the next day, but the next several days? In fact, as we're not really going to shut off the snow completely. Dean, what's it looking like?
Until the weekend.
Until the weekend. What's it looking like out there over these next couple of days, and when does it look like it's going to be the worst around our area?
That's right. Well, I'm just taking a look at our latest short-term models that are coming in, and they're slowing the system down a bit. So the onset of the precip probably won't start until sometime tomorrow. We'll see a little bit overnight tonight, a little patchy freezing drizzle, but we're looking at 0.05 of an inch at the most as we head towards tomorrow morning. It's enough to make things a little slick on some of the lesser traveled roadways, but main thoroughfares should be okay tomorrow. But as we go throughout the day tomorrow, conditions will slowly deteriorate. I think up until about 3 o'clock, then things start to go downhill pretty fast. By your evening commute, we'll start to see areas of heavy snow move in from the south, and the worst part of the storm coming in from the evening commute into the overnight hours on Tuesday. So if the worst part of the storm is coming in overnight, that's pretty decent in terms of it's not going to snarl a whole lot of traffic, but your Wednesday morning commute is probably going to be very tricky around here. So tomorrow morning's commute, not bad, starts to get bad tomorrow evening, and then Wednesday morning's commute is going to be very, very, very slippery. Some spots just almost one of those better just stay home kind of days. Mm-hmm. And the question is, how much dry air do we wrap into this storm? We keep talking about that over the last day or so, and that will play a big factor on when that snow shuts off on Wednesday. A couple of our models keeping the snow going at least through lunchtime and then starting to taper it off as the storm system slowly moves into areas of northwestern Iowa by by later in the day on Wednesday. And by Friday, the storm moves only into northwestern Wisconsin. So, I mean, it's really slow moving for about 3 days. And as it moves northeast, we'll get in on the backside of that system where it wraps in snow bands into the valley. So all like total snowfall accumulation by Friday, I think we'll have, let's break it down. By tomorrow morning, don't worry about the snow. By tomorrow evening, let's say by 6 o'clock, we'll probably have about 2-3 inches of snow on the ground. Maybe a little bit more in areas just southwest of the FM area. And then by Wednesday morning, we'll probably have anywhere between 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground. And then by the end of the week, after the few more rounds of snow come in here by Saturday morning, we'll probably have at least a foot of snow, if not a little bit more, throughout much of the area. So it's going to come in a couple of waves, and it's winter. I mean,
it's winter. Hey,
yeah.
You know, I'm all for the snow. I say let it snow. Bridgette, she says no, let it go away.
And Bridgette, down by you, there at least a foot of snow, that minimum, down where you're at. So
right.
Yeah.
That's what it's sounding like down here. So I'm planning on keeping an eye on it as much as possible.
Now, I think she'll be able to get out of there by Thursday.
If not, we'll send the company helicopter to come pick you up. Oh, you got your...
Oh, can you hear me? Thanks for sending the helicopter.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. That I much appreciate that.
I don't think Steve's going to mind as he pokes his head out the door and stares me down.
Right.
Well, why don't we take a look at an ag topic? I know we focus on the weather a lot, as we should with a winter storm heading our way.
Coming.
Yeah, it could be a doozy for some of us. A lot of people are going to be affected by this. But, why don't we talk about how the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act is upsetting the EU, and just like we're good at, upsetting a lot of people.
Well, it would appear that with the Inflation Reduction Act, a lot of the dollars in that are going to put us at an unfair advantage over the European Union. And that's their concern. Much of those subsidies were being spent over there. And now with the changes that are coming with electric vehicles, as well as electric tractors, et cetera, more dollars are being spent here in the United States. So there's some concern that perhaps there will be a price disadvantage for those coming out of the EU. They aren't saying that they're willing to work around it. I think what it comes down to is how much money do we all want to spend in order to make things better. But right now, there are some concerns. A solution can be arranged fairly quickly, and neither side really wants to have any concerns with trade tension. They would like things to go as smoothly as possible. So we will see where that leads for right now. But in response, we know that the U.S. has heard about it. We want to make sure that we still have good trade with our European friends and partners. And right now, it's just an issue that has been raised. I can't say that it is going to lead to any serious trade concerns. Probably the biggest deal here is, as we talk so much about carbon sequestration, of reducing greenhouse gases, that's the overall intent that everyone wants, is how much more can we do that and how quickly can that happen. So it's being worked on in both sides of the pond, you might say.
All right. And you're speaking about trade, keeping people happy. Has there been any news that you've heard of the grain trade agreement between Ukraine and Russia and how that's been unfolding since we last talked about it?
Things are kind of quiet right now. Harvest wrapped up over there. They are indeed on moving shipments out, but we know that planted acre tonnage was down, and so the amount of tons that'll be shipped will be down. What does that look like? There hasn't been an update yet. The WASD report came out last week from USDA, and it showed that overall U.S. exports would be down on corn, but some of that also is because of the U.S. corn crop is looking like as Mexico wants to ban U.S. yellow corn with trait genetics in it being moved into that country, even though a lot of it will be for livestock use. So they have now started doing a little bit of backpedaling and saying maybe we need to rethink that because they don't know where else they'd get enough corn. So decisions will be made over the next short term, and this also is ongoing while we're having discussions about the Farm Bill, just as our guest today mentioned. So lots to think about politically right now in the ag world.
It sure seems like it. It's all just kind of coming together. When is this Farm Bill due or supposed to be proposed or finalized? I don't know what the right wording would be for that.
So the Farm Bill generally is supposed to be done and in place by October of 2023. Because midterm elections happened in November, because there were changes in committee members, etc. It sounds like that may not be the case, that it'll be delayed. But I'm sure extensions will be built into it until we have a finalized Farm Bill.
All right. And people, if they want to get more information on that or how they can get involved, do you have any information on that?
As always, anyone can email me, ag@flagfamily.com. You can reach out via Twitter, and we'll be happy to answer your questions because we look forward to doing that. We don't mind a little bit of homework. I mean, all you guys are going to talk about this week is snow, so I guess someone can give me something different to talk about. How's that?
That sounds like a plan. Thanks, Bridgette. That's going to do it for us here on Weather and Ag in Focus today. Thanks for joining us, and Dean will have another look at that forecast and kind of breaking down this upcoming winter storm over the next couple of days with the Jay Thomas Show, which will be starting at 2:06, so don't turn the dial. And if you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube Live, turn the dial to 970 AM so that way you can listen to the Jay Thomas Show where they're going to be doing the snow contest. And
that's right.
Oh, that's going to be fun to listen to.
Jay will have a nice prize at the end of the winter.
So someone will get a chance. I believe you guys are taking guesses for the snowfall amount in Fargo ending on April 30th. You want to be a part of that? Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM.